A family camping adventure in Pine Ridge National Park. The Jensen family had been planning their camping trip to Pine Ridge National Park for months. As they packed up their minivan on Friday afternoon, excitement filled the air. Mom and Dad double-checked their lists to make sure they hadn't forgotten anything important, while 12-year-old Mia and 10-year-old Jack argued over who would get the window seat for the drive. After a 3-hour journey filled with sing-alongs and car games, they finally arrived at the park entrance. Tall pine trees lined the winding road, their branches reaching up towards the sky. The fresh scent of pine needles wafted through the open windows, a welcome change from the city air they were used to. They found their campsite nestled in a clearing surrounded by trees. Dad showed Mia and Jack how to set up the tent, explaining each step carefully. It took a few tries and some tangled tent poles, but eventually their temporary home stood proudly in the middle of the site. Mom organized their supplies and started preparing dinner on the portable stove. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, the family sat around the campfire Dad had built. They roasted hot dogs on long sticks and told silly stories. For dessert, they made s'mores, giggling as melted marshmallows stuck to their fingers and chins. The warmth of the fire kept them cozy as the night air grew cooler. When darkness fell, they were amazed by the number of stars visible in the night sky. Living in the city, they rarely saw more than a handful of the brightest stars. But here, away from light pollution, the Milky Way stretched across the sky like a river of diamonds. Dad pointed out constellations, and they took turns making up their own shapes in the stars. The next morning, they woke up to the sound of birds chirping and sunlight filtering through the tent walls. After a breakfast of oatmeal and fresh berries, they set out on a hike. The trail wound through the forest and alongside a bubbling stream. Mia spotted a deer drinking from the water, and they all froze, watching in awe until it bounded away into the trees. As they hiked, Mom pointed out different types of plants and trees. They saw wildflowers in vibrant purples and yellows, and Jack found a pine cone bigger than his hand. They stopped to rest on some large rocks, enjoying the peacefulness of the forest and the gentle sound of the stream. In the afternoon, they went to the park's lake. The cool water was refreshing after their long hike. Dad taught Jack how to skip stones across the water's surface, while Mia and Mom looked for interesting pebbles along the shore. They even saw a family of ducks swimming by, the little ducklings following their mother in a neat line. That evening, a park ranger visited their campsite to give a talk about the local wildlife. They learned about the black bears that lived in the park and what to do if they encountered one. The ranger also showed them plaster casts of animal tracks and challenged them to identify each one. Mia correctly guessed the raccoon print, while Jack was sure he could now recognize a wolf track if he saw one. On their last morning, they woke up early to watch the sunrise from a nearby lookout point. As the sky lightened from deep blue to soft pink and then to bright gold, they sat together in comfortable silence, taking in the beauty around them. A gentle mist hung over the valley below, slowly dissipating as the sun's rays touched it. As they packed up their campsite later that morning, everyone felt a mixture of sadness to leave and excitement to return home. They had dirt under their fingernails, a few mosquito bites, and slightly smoky-smelling clothes, but their hearts were full of happy memories. On the drive home, instead of arguing over the window seat, Mia and Jack chattered about their favorite parts of the trip. Mia loved the hike and seeing the deer, while Jack couldn't stop talking about skipping stones and the ranger's animal track game. Mom and Dad exchanged smiles in the front seat, already planning their next outdoor adventure. That night, back in their own beds, the Jensen family fell asleep easily, tired from their adventures but rejuvenated by their time in nature. The sounds of the city outside their windows seemed a little less noisy, as they each carried a bit of the peaceful forest with them in their hearts.